and a large transfer of money to Ackbar's account.
Now that definitely does sound like it's a trap.
It's a trap.
It's a trap! It's a wrap! Where's my hat? It's a trap! Sorry. Just finally figured it out. On my way back to the office. Couldn't get it out of my head. Gotta go.
Hello there.
Hi.
That's fucking Obi-Wan Kenobi.
And welcome to the Real Sequels, the series of events that happened after Episode 6 in the books, novels, and sometimes comics in the expanded universe. And today we're looking at Chapter 3. So Chapter 3 opens on the Millennium Falcon, the ship being acknowledged and cleared the land at the Imperial Palace. Ground Control tells Han that Councillor Organa will be meeting him on his arrival. Han takes a moment to ponder the disgust of the dark cloud that hangs over the Emperor's former palace. He then tells 3PO over the comms to get ready for landing. Han never liked any droids, but he puts up with 3PO because Leia likes him. And if he was honest, he didn't think 3PO to be that bad. But then, he's never spent weeks at a time with another droid on a ship. I think it's a cool kind of imagery to kind of see that, or like imagine what Coruscant has become since Episode 3 to Episode 6. We never really revisit there, you know?
Yeah.
And it was kind of, this is the first look of, oh, there's an Imperial Palace. There's like, you know, this whole big, still dark energy. The Emperor is still very much present, even if he's gone. He still left that big dark mark on Coruscant. So the Falcon comes into land at the Imperial Palace, and Leia rushes to meet Han in an embrace. A warm hello, with both very evidently glad to see each other. And Han, careful not to hold her too close, as to not disturb the even more visible bump. Leia clutches Han and swiftly moves off. They meet Chewie, who is carrying his bowcaster in a ready position. Han and Chewie exchange a hey and a growl, as Leia explains that Philia has taken over some of Ackbar's positions, but is behaving like a caretaker rather than an administrator, and has hinted at being available to take charge, but hasn't made any push for supreme command just yet.
So is he just walking around sweeping the floors?
It's a trap.
I don't really feel like you mean it, though.
Han then suggests that Philia doesn't want to panic anyone, that Ackbar is enough to chew anymore and they might choke on it. Leia outlines that there were several break-ins in the central bank the same morning as the Sluis van attack, and a large transfer of money to Ackbar's account on Palnahi.
Now that definitely does sound like it's a trap.
It's a trap.
It's a trap! It's a wrap! Where's my hat? It's a trap! Sorry. Just finally figured it out. On my way back to the office. Couldn't get it out of my head. Gotta go.
Yeah.
Han asks where they've put Ackbar. Leia says that he's not in prison. He is under house arrest. Again, Han thinks Philia's trying not to ruffle too many feathers. The two are now walking down the Grand Hall as Han is thinking about visiting Ackbar, not realizing where he's going until it's too late. Leia had walked him straight to the council chamber to answer the questions about the attack, as Mon Mothma had commanded. Han, at this point, taken by surprise, remarks that he should have let C-3PO leave the ship first. Entering the room, the usual oval table was gone, and the room had shifted configuration with Mon Mothma at the lowest level at a lectern, like a school teacher, and a witness chair just in front of her. Han remarks that there's no spaces to show Ackbar was missing, and the absence of evidence of Ackbar's place was perhaps done on purpose by Philia. Leia sits down beside her own aide, Winter, and the questioning begins.
Has much been said about Winter so far?
In the book, a little bit, but in the comics, absolutely nothing. In fact, they actually cut out the scene in the comics where like she's talking. But
Well, she does come up in the next episode.
Yeah, but yeah, no, she becomes quite interesting. So Han is asked to give an address of the attack on Sluis Van, which he does, briefly being interrupted by Philia trying to throw him off his stride. Philia then interrupted Han, saying that he was too modest, and that they had received reports that Han and his crew had single-handedly thwarted the Empire's attack. Bracing for a dressing down, Philia instead praises Han's ingenuity. Then Philia moves to say that the attack itself is probably due to treason. He points out that the whole reason the ships were there in the first place was due to Ackbar ordering them there. Han points out that there is a leak in the New Republic communications, to which Philia replies that Ackbar has failed to find that as well then. This then riles up Han, who loses his temper and says, well then you find the leak, and while you're at it, I'd like to see how you do against an Imperial Grand Admiral.
Why would you say something so controversial yet so brave?
The shock hits the crowd as Mon Mothma claims that they've accounted for all the Imperial Grand Admirals and asked Han to describe him. Han didn't know what species he was, but he described him as near human, with red eyes and blue skin, with bluish black hair, and calling himself Grand Admiral. Philia barks that perhaps he gave himself a promotion, as it was impossible that one was unaccounted for, while Mon Mothma also recounted that the Empire was xenophobic, and it would be very strange for a non-human Grand Admiral to exist. Nevertheless, Mon Mothma decreed they would research the matter and continue with the current investigation also.
I don't think they believe him.
Later, Han and Leia visit Ackbar, sharing their new information. Ackbar confirms that all they found when they took over Coruscant was a list of names of Grand Admirals, no further details. The Empire had either deleted them or they simply didn't exist. Like the Death Star, which would make sense, as these were the best and brightest in the Empire, set to put the Empire's wider plans in motion. Han then reveals that he knows the name of the Grand Admiral, but he wouldn't reveal that until later, as it might give them leverage. Leia tells Ackbar what happened from Wedge's report, to which Ackbar slumps in his chair. He's distraught at the fact that the Empire now must have a working cloaking device. Now, more determined than ever, he asks Leia to hurry and clear his name, as he feels Philia won't be able to deal with a Grand Admiral, even with all his ambition. Ackbar thanks Han and Leia for coming. Han then remarks privately to Leia that must have hurt. Han feels that Ackbar hasn't liked him since he resigned, and that if you leave the military, you're as low as Bantha spit in Ackbar's eyes.
Oh my goodness.
I know. Leia reports that the Mon Cal were never warlike people, until the Empire invaded their world. Their warships, former cruise liners. She remarks perhaps it's more guilt on his part for going to war in the first place. This chapter finishes with Han asking Leia why she left Kashyyyk. Leia, not feeling she can tell Han about the deal with the Noghri yet, says she'll tell him later when they're somewhere more secure. Her final thoughts, as she touches her stomach, is of her twins, so potentially strong in the Force, and yet so vulnerable. I love politics.
So exciting.
Yeah, no, it's one of them things that you can't have Star Wars without a bit of Star Wars politics, which is kind of, I think it's kind of cool. Like, one of my favorite movies is The Phantom Menace, and like
I still don't understand that, but okay.
But
okay, each to their own.
yeah, it's one of the things that
Politics, though, just never really interested me a wee bit, but just kind of went a wee bit over my head. But politics, though, just never really interested me.
Well, see, I kind of like, I was one of the things I kind of missed in the sequel trilogy. It was like there was a wee bit of like of the internal kind of how the universe is working and political and stuff like that. You know, I demand to see some trade routes disputes.
Completely over my head.
But yeah, cool. So looking forward to see how this unfolds.
Yeah.
But that's all we have time for this week. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and check out some of the other videos at the end of this one.
They're great.
Bye.
Bye.